They say when one door closes, another one opens. But they never warn you that the person standing behind that new door might be holding a calculator, ready to bill you for every breath you take. My name is Victoria. I'm 34 years old. My entire life, I believed in the American dream. Work hard, stay honest, play by the rules, and things will work out. And for a while, they did. I'm a licensed real estate agent in upstate New York. I know how to sell a house with a leaky roof for $1 million. I'm a closer. I'm a professional. But I turned out to be completely powerless when it came to selling my own soul to a predator. My first marriage to Alex was a textbook disaster. Alex was the kind of guy who looked at a woman like an accessory, something to be worn, shown off, and then discarded when a newer model came along. The second I hit 34 and developed those tiny laugh lines around my eyes from years of stress, he decided it was time for an upgrade. His new version was a 22-year-old girl whose primary life achievement was her hair color. But Alex left me a parting gift. It wasn't diamonds, and it wasn't apple stock. He left me his son, Danny. See, Danny's biological mother was complicated. She was in and out of the state correctional system more often than I was in the grocery store. I had raised Danny since he was in diapers, right alongside my own son, Andrew. When Alex walked out, he just looked at me with that cold, corporate stare and said, "You're better with him than I am anyway. He's used to you." And just like that, I became a single mother of 2 teenage boys, saddled with a massive mortgage and a heart that looked like a shattered vase held together by cheap glue. I worked 60-hour weeks. I was that woman answering client calls at 3 a.m. while my kids slept. I was exhausted. I was lonely. And it was in that exact moment of vulnerability that he rode into my life. Literally, it was April. One of those rare New York days where the sun actually feels warm instead of just bright. I had just closed a brutal 6-figure deal and decided to treat myself. I bought a charcoal gray power suit from Theory. $400, tailored to perfection. In that suit, I felt armored. I felt like I could handle anything. I was walking down the street in Albany, thinking about my mother. It had been exactly 40 days since cancer took her from me. The grief was still a raw, open wound. I was lost in thought, imagining how proud she would have been of my latest commission. "Hey, watch where you're going, you stupid Karen," a sharp voice barked. I didn't even have time to look up. The impact was violent. The front wheel of a mountain bike slammed right into my hip. I went flying onto the asphalt. My new suit, my armors, snagged on the bike chain and tore with a sickening rip at the knee. A sharp, stinging pain shot through my elbow. I sat there on the dirty sidewalk, staring at the jagged hole in my trousers. And suddenly, I just broke. All those tears I'd been holding back, the divorce, the death of my mom, the crushing weight of the bills, they came pouring out. I covered my face with my hands and sobbed like a child. The guy hopped off his bike. I expected more shouting, but his voice changed instantly. "Oh, crap. Hey, look, I'm sorry. I'm a total jerk. I was just rushing a delivery. Please don't cry. Are you hurt bad?" I looked up. Standing over me was a guy in his mid-20s. Messy blonde hair, bright blue eyes, full of genuine panic. He was wearing a simple t-shirt and a courier backpack. "My suit," I whispered, sobbing. "I just bought it." He knelt down on the sidewalk, ignoring the people walking past us. "Look, the suit is just fabric. What matters is that you're okay. Here, let me help you up. Where do you live? I'll walk you home. Please, let me make this up to you." He helped me to my feet. With one hand, he rolled his bike, and with the other, he supported my arm. His touch was gentle. He wasn't trying to dominate me, he was just there. "I'm Dylan," he said as we reached my doorstep, and I promise the word Karen will never leave my mouth again. Can I take you for a coffee tomorrow? At that place on the corner? Just so I know you don't hate me." I looked at him. Young, energetic, so different from the cold, calculating Alex. And I said yes. I didn't know then that this cup of coffee would be the most expensive drink of my life. That for this latte, I would pay with years of my freedom and thousands of dollars out of my own pocket. Our first date lasted 3 hours. Dylan wasn't like the real estate sharks I dealt with every day. He was simple. He told me about his grandmother, about how his father abandoned them when he was still in diapers, and how his mother went overseas to find a better life, leaving him to fend for himself. "You know, Vicky," he said, placing his hand over mine, "I grew up realizing you can only count on yourself in this world. No, when I saw you there on the sidewalk, for the first time, I wanted someone to be able to count on me." My heart, chewed up by Alex's cynicism, just melted. I didn't see a 28-year-old kid with no degree. I saw a diamond in the rough. I thought, I'm an experienced woman. I'll help him get on his feet. I'll teach him what a real family looks like. By fall, Dylan had moved in, and that's when the first alarm bells started ringing. Bells that I mistook for music. "Look, babe," he said as we were unpacking his few boxes in my house. "Let's set the ground rules early. I'm into progressive relationships. No one owes anyone anything. Let's split everything 50-50. Rent, food, utilities. It's fair, right? That way, our sex stays sex and our love stays love, without any of those dirty money arguments." I nodded. It sounded so enlightened, so independent, but I failed to account for one minor detail. The rent on my suburban house was $3,200, plus the heating bills, the insurance, the high-speed internet, plus food for 2 growing teenagers who ate like a herd of buffalo. Dylan was making about $2,000 a month doing DoorDash in a good month. I was making 5 times that, but we split the $3,200 down the middle. For him, it was $1,600, practically his entire income. For me, it was a drop in the bucket, but he insisted. "I'm a man, Vicky. I'm not going to live off your dime," he would state proudly. But a week later, it started. "Vic, the tire on my bike popped. Can you spot me $50? Add it to our shared list. I'll pay you back on Monday. Vic, I grabbed us pizza for dinner. You owe me $12. I sent you a Venmo request." He recorded everything. If he bought a pack of napkins, he brought home the receipt and asked for 50 cents. My sisters, Elena and Alice, watched this in horror. "Victoria, you found yourself a 3rd child," Elena hissed during a family dinner. "He's calculating how much juice your son drinks. He seriously charged you for gas when you guys drove to see Alice." "You don't understand," I defended him. "He's just being responsible. He doesn't want to be a moocher. He's teaching himself financial literacy." I believed it, right up until that morning in December. I got sick suddenly. Influenza A hit me so hard I couldn't lift my head off the pillow. My fever was spiking at 102 degrees. Andrew and Danny were at school, so I was home alone with Dylan. "Dill?" I rasped. "Please, go to CVS. I need Tamiflu, electrolytes, and some cough syrup. I can barely breathe." He looked up from his video game, clearly annoyed. "Ugh, babe, I literally just had a hot delivery slot open up. Fine, I'll go, but it's going to take a while." He was gone for 3 hours. I lay there in a fever dream, sweating through the sheets, praying he'd get back with the meds. Finally, the door opened. He walked into the bedroom without even taking off his jacket. "Here, take it," he said, tossing a white CVS bag onto the bed. It's all there. And, hey, don't fall back asleep yet. I sent you a Venmo request for $84.20. That's for the meds. I grabbed a couple of energy drinks for myself while I was waiting in line, but I deducted those from the total. I'm fair like that. Confirm it now, okay? I have to pay my half of the rent tomorrow and my account is at zero. I stared at him through a veil of tears and fever. My hands were shaking as I fumbled for my phone. Dylan, I don't have the energy to open the app right now. I'm hallucinating. Let me pay you tonight? He frowned. His face went cold and distant. Vicky, we had an agreement. 50-50. Your health is your responsibility. I spent my working hours driving to get you these pills. I didn't even charge you for gas, notice that. But pay for the meds now. It's only fair. With trembling fingers, I entered my passcode. Ping. The money was gone. He smiled, kissed my forehead, and went to the kitchen to heat up some pizza. I lay there and listened to him chatting happily on the phone in the other room. That night, I realized if I ever fell down and couldn't get up, Dylan wouldn't call 911. He would first check to see if my credit card was linked to the hospital's billing app. And then, those 2 pink lines showed up on the test. I'd always wanted a daughter. A little girl I'd name Maya. I imagined braiding her hair and buying tiny dresses at Macy's. After Alex's betrayal, this dream was my North Star. I thought a baby would be the glue that would turn our 50-50 cohabitation into a real family. That January evening in the bathroom, I looked at the test and cried. I cried from joy and from a raw, primal fear. I walked into the living room where Dylan was playing Call of Duty. Dill, look, we did it. He didn't even hit pause. His character kept shooting on the TV screen while Dylan slowly turned his head to me. He didn't smile. He didn't hug me. He looked at that test like it was a utility bill he had no intention of paying. Vicky, are you serious? Right now? His voice was as cold as ice in a whiskey glass. I have $7,000 in credit card debt. Moya Honda is falling apart. And you bring me this? But we talked about this. You said you wanted a family. My voice broke into a sob. I said, in the future, in 5 years. Right now, a kid is financial suicide. It'll destroy my plans for my brand. And let's be clear about one thing. I cannot fund this project. If you choose to keep this, that's your budget, your responsibility, and your insurance. I am not paying for diapers when I can't even afford my own sneakers. I didn't sleep that night. I stared at his back and realized, for Dylan, love was a transaction. And if the deal stopped being profitable, he was out. A week later, I was sitting in the waiting room of a family planning clinic. Dylan waited in the car. He said, white walls gave him panic attacks. When I came out, pale, hollow, feeling the dream of Maya die inside me, he didn't even look up from his phone. You're done already? That was fast. Hey, I checked the menu at that grill place around the corner. Should we go? I'm starving from waiting. By the way, you owe me $20 for parking. I only have a $100 bill and I don't want to break it. I silently pulled out a 20 and laid it on the dashboard. I felt dirty. Not because of the clinic, but because I was sharing a bed with a man who valued the life of his unborn child at the price of a burger. My sisters, Elena and Alice, were livid. We were sitting in a coffee shop, and Elena almost slammed her cup onto the table when I told her about the fair parking fee. Victoria, wake up, Elena shouted. This isn't a progressive relationship. This is financial slavery. He lives in your house, eats your food, and when you're at your lowest, he sends you Venmo requests. He's just stressed. I made excuses. We're moving to New Jersey. He has a graphic design contract there. Everything will be different. But in New Jersey, it only got worse. This was what psychologists call weaponized incompetence. Dylan was tired. Dylan was burnt out. His contract fell through after 2 weeks, and he just stayed on the couch. He stopped taking delivery shifts. He claimed he had depression. "Vicky, I can't work in this state. My creative energy is at 0. I need time to find myself." And so, I grinded. I found a remote job as an analyst for a big firm. I carried the rent for 2 apartments, our home and the place in Jersey. I fed him, and I fed my 2 sons. And Dylan? Dylan was busy. He was making spreadsheets. One morning, I walked into the kitchen and saw a printout on the table. It was the family expense report that would be the final straw. Expenses, March. Shared cleaning supplies, Clorox/paper towels, $14.50. Vicky's share, $7.25. Dog food, I bought it, but it's Vicky's dog, $45. Debt to Dylan. Apple juice, Andrew and Danny drank 90% of the bottle, $4.10. Charge Vicky. Mental support for Vicky during her sad days. Priceless, but let's deduct $20 from my utility share this month. I looked at that list and felt something die inside me. The last shred of respect, the last ounce of pity. In that moment, Andrew walked into the kitchen. My son. He grabbed the last of the juice from the fridge. "Mom, Dylan said if I drink this juice, I have to leave 50 cents on the table. Has he lost his mind?" I looked at my son. Then at the list. Then at Dylan, who was sleeping peacefully in the bedroom at noon. "No, honey," I said calmly. "He hasn't lost his mind. He just reminded me that it's time to close this damn bank account. For good." I stood there in that Jersey kitchen with that piece of paper in my hand. Apple juice, $4.10. I stared at those numbers and suddenly remembered with vivid clarity how 3 months ago I had paid for his Honda's transmission, $1,200. I didn't put it in a spreadsheet. I didn't ask for a Venmo confirmation. I just swiped my card at the mechanic because we were a family. Dylan walked out of the bedroom, rubbing his eyes. He looked cozy, well-rested, and completely alien. "Hey babe, did you see the list? I rounded everything in your favor," he said, reaching for the coffee maker. "By the way, Andrew ate my protein bar yesterday. Write down $5. Those are the expensive ones from the organic store." I slowly turned to him. "Dylan, did you write down the $1,200 for your transmission on this list? Or the $800 I sent your grandmother for her medication last month?" He froze. His face twitched for a second, but he immediately put on his offended innocence mask. "Vicky, why are you mixing everything together? Those were gifts, gestures of love. These are operating expenses. If we don't track the budget, we fall into chaos. You're a realtor. You of all people should understand the importance of accounting." "Accounting for what, Dylan? For how you're sucking my blood $3 at a time?" I threw the paper in his face. "I'm leaving. Back to our home. Today." "What?" He laughed, but I saw the panic in his eyes. "Vicky, you're being hysterical. Is it that time of the month? Let's have some tea. Talk about it." "No, Dylan. We aren't talking about anything anymore. I'm taking the kids, I'm taking the dog, and I'm taking my credit card. Good luck with the rent in Jersey. It's due in 2 days, by the way. 50-50, remember? Your share is $1,600. I assume you have your operating income ready?" I walked out, slamming the door so hard the windows rattled. In that second, the smell of freedom was sweeter than any perfume. I went back home to my sisters, Elena and Alice. They met me with a bottle of wine and a massive banner. "Welcome back to reality." But Dylan didn't go quietly. Predators like him never do. A week later, he was standing on my porch. He'd shaved, put on the shirt he wore on our first date, and he brought 1 rose. 1. He'd probably found it on clearance. "Vicky, I've realized everything," he said, looking at me with those puppy dog eyes. I was an idiot. That spreadsheet, it was just a defense mechanism because I grew up poor. Look, if you change, if you stop being so controlling and aggressive, I'm ready to take the next step. What step, Dylan? I crossed my arms. I'll marry you. In 6 months. I've already mapped it out. We'll have a small ceremony. Everyone pays for their own guests. I started laughing. I laughed so loud, the neighbors started looking out their windows. Everyone pays for their own guests? Dylan, are you for real? You're offering me a marriage subscription with a metered bill? Get out, and don't come back, ever. He left screaming insults, calling me an old gold-digging bitch. But I didn't care. I'd already blocked him everywhere, except for one channel, just to watch him try to find his next mommy sponsor. I later found out from mutual friends. Every single one of his exes had been older than him. I was just another investment project that suddenly went belly up. A year passed. My career took off. Without the anchor that was Dylan, I finally had time for myself. Andrew started college, and Danny really turned his life around. One evening, my phone rang. It was George. We'd met at a real estate conference years ago. I'd always liked him. Calm, confident, and at 42, he had this aura of stability, like an old oak tree. "Victoria, I'm going to be in your city next Friday. I know a great French bistro. Would you join me for dinner?" I agreed, but my stomach did a somersault. Old habits die hard. The whole evening, I was on edge. When they brought the menus without prices, I broke into a cold sweat. When we finished dessert, I started frantically digging through my purse, calculating the tip and tax in my head. George saw my panic. He gently reached over and covered my hand with his. "Vicky, what are you doing?" I just want to get my share ready. 50-50. George looked at me with genuine confusion, and then his expression became incredibly warm and a little bit sad. "Victoria, look at me. I invited you. You are my guest. In my world, a man takes care of his woman. You are never going to have to split a bill for dinner, for life, or for happiness, ever again. Put the wallet away. For good." I went to the powder room and cried. For the first time in years, they were tears of relief. I realized Dylan's progressiveness was just a pretty word for his cowardice. When I got home, a notification popped up on my phone. It was from Dylan through an old app I'd forgotten to block. "Hey Vic, look, I'm in a spot. My credit card is frozen. I need to make a minimum payment of $135, or the interest is gonna kill me. Can you spot me the cash until Wednesday? I'll pay you back with interest, I swear. We aren't strangers, after all." I smiled. I opened the window, letting in the cool New York night air. My fingers flew across the screen. Do it yourself, Dylan. All by yourself. Plan your budget as carefully as you planned our 50-50. Good luck with the interest. I hit block and report as spam. They say you have to pay for your mistakes. I paid for Dylan in full. But the lesson I learned was worth every cent. I'm not a stupid bird on the sidewalk anymore. I'm a woman who knows her worth. And that price? It's infinity.
Friends, stories like Victoria's happen more often than we think. If you're in a relationship where every step you take is being recorded in a spreadsheet, or if your partner treats your love like a business transaction, run. Real love doesn't know accounting. It knows sacrifice, it knows kindness, and it knows respect. But what about you? Have you ever dealt with a Dylan in your life? Or maybe you've seen those financial red flags in someone you know? Drop your stories in the comments below. I read every single one of them, and your experience might help someone else break free. Before you go, if you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on all notifications. We have a lot more stories coming your way that you won't want to miss. Take care of yourselves and take care of your hearts. I'll see you in the next story.